On Citrus TV News, today's snowstorm leaves several inches of snow on central New York and multiple school closings.
And the Syracuse City School District's graduation rate drops, how Syracuse high schools performed this past school year.
And Senate leaders reach a bipartisan long-term spending bill just a day before the deadline. We have details on all that and more. Citrus TV News starts right now.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
A White House aide resigned today after allegations that he abused two ex-wives. Good evening, I'm Conor Federico.
And I'm Josh Rosenblatt. Staff Secretary Rob Porter called the allegations against him, quote, outrageous and simply false, but still resigned earlier this afternoon.
Chief of Staff John Kelly defended Porter, and Press Secretary Sarah Sanders read a statement by Porter at today's press briefing.
My commitment to public service speaks for itself. I've always put duty to country first and treated others with respect. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to have served in the Trump administration and will seek to ensure a smooth transition when I leave the White House.
It's uncertain exactly when Porter will leave the White House. President Trump has yet to comment on the issue.
The Institute for Veterans and Military Families received a $50,000 grant from Travelers Insurance. The IVMF helps veterans and military spouses transition to civilian life. The money will go toward two of the IVMF's programs. The programs host conferences that provide entrepreneurship training and resources. The Institute's conferences aim to educate and support veteran business owners. The Newhouse School will hold its 4th annual Pixels and Print Graphic Design Workshop this Thursday through Saturday. The workshop brings Newhouse graphic design students together to develop a logo that details the refugee experience. The final projects will be displayed at 7 on Saturday night in Newhouse 3. It's been another snowy day in Syracuse today, but it wasn't enough to cancel class, and it certainly wasn't enough to stop construction along South Crouse Avenue. A crew member is seen here using a leaf blower to remove snow from the construction decks. Tarps and other tools like shovels are also used to help keep the snow from burying construction. The project includes student housing and several new restaurants and is scheduled to be completed by the next semester. More than $150,000 will help promote the performing arts of Syracuse. The Near West Side initiative is starting construction on a new stage space. The center will provide rehearsal and classroom spaces as well as seating for 150 people. The groundbreaking ceremony is tomorrow morning. 1 year after its beginning, the program They Wear Blue is making a difference throughout the city. Citrus TV News reporter Justine Murray is here in studio to tell us why starting it was so important.
Police officers were out in full force this weekend for the Super Bowl. And with the new program, the City of Syracuse Police Department is hoping for a different reaction to their blue uniforms.
They Wear Blue was an attempt by us to take a really complex story and personalize it.
In light of recent news regarding tensions between civilians and cops, two Newhouse professors created a year-long class to launch the program They Wear Blue. Steve Davis and graduate Ashley King are two organizers of the project.
It just is a way to humanize the police force and really put a face to that idea of the police.
We wanted to do that by introducing people in this community to some of their local police officers, and specifically their minority police officers.
While almost half of the Syracuse population is minority, they only make up 10% of the police. They Wear Blue gives us an inside view of their lives and what it's like to be a cop.
This was our attempt to take a closer look at that, to find the 1 in 10 officers who are minorities and learn their story. Why did they become cops?
Minority police officers are often stigmatized and say they are looked down upon by other people.
You would think that people would be excited that there are more minority officers. They want more minority officers, yet when certain minorities have chosen that career, it always hasn't been a great experience because now they're seen as part of the other side.
They have created an interactive website where you can meet the people who wear blue in your neighborhood.
This way we can show readers really a look at what it's like to be an officer and what the person is behind the uniform.
10 students have been selected to work with police officers who are part of the program. They will work with each other to create a bond different than normal. Justine Murray, Citrus TV News.
For more information on the program, you can go to theywearblue.com. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Justine. There's been a significant increase in applications at SUNY schools. Governor Cuomo announced applications have increased by 10% since the beginning of the Excelsior Scholarship Program. The scholarship provides free tuition to public colleges across New York, and along with applications, the school also saw an increase in the amount of credits freshman students were taking.
The Syracuse City Schools graduation rate has taken a slight dip in 2017. The rate dropped 0.5% after being at 61% in 2016. Fowler High School was the school with the lowest graduation rate at only 50%, but this was actually an increase from 44% the year before. The Institute of Technology at Central held the highest 2017 graduation rate at 91%. Residents in the Hudson Valley were shaken up after a small earthquake hit the area. The quake had a magnitude of 2.2 on the Richter scale. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the movement happened at 6:14 a.m. in the Lake Mohegan area of New York. There are no reports of any injuries or damage.
Josh, Syracuse is absolutely covered in snow today. It's been coming down all day long.
Yeah, you know, it really has been, but our weather anchor, Jessica Torriceli, may have some good news for those that want the snow to stop. Jess?
Yeah, so maybe later on tonight we might see a little less of this snow. Earlier in the morning we saw a few inches, and then it just kept coming throughout the day and ending up about 10 inches in all together today from Winter Storm Liam, which blanketed the Northeast with snow among most of the states, and even Possibilities and Modern Malt closed earlier today because of the snow, citing they wanted everyone to be safe and not come out to downtown because there was so much snow still left on the streets. But I'll let you know if we're going to see any more snow coming up tomorrow or in the next few days, coming up in my full weather forecast.
Thanks, Jess. Coming up, the Dow failed to stabilize today after a turbulent week. President Trump expressed his frustrations on Twitter.
And a member of the North Korean Kim dynasty is going to South Korea for the Olympics. Find out what this means for relations between the two countries going forward. Stay tuned.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown, and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch. Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV Newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at CitrusTV News, your campus news leader.
The stock market has been extremely volatile this week, and today was no different.
The Dow closed down 20 points after rising over 380 points earlier in the day. President Trump took to Twitter this morning, voicing his displeasure that these days the stock market goes down when good news is reported.
His tweet has left some people baffled. It's unclear if he's criticizing the media, the stock market, or both.
And the Senate is set to vote today on a new long-term spending bill that will prevent another government shutdown.
The House passed the bill yesterday, but the Senate is expected to make changes, meaning it would have to return to the House in order to be approved. The Senate also unveiled their own separate bill, which faces opposition in the House.
All legislation must be approved before midnight tomorrow, or the government will be shut down yet again.
President Trump is asking the Pentagon to plan a military parade in Washington, D.C. He had expressed his desire to hold one similar to the Bastille Day parade with French President Emmanuel Macron in September.
Lawmakers expressed worry about the cost of such a project. However, the Pentagon says they have already started preliminary planning for the parade.
The last large-scale military parade in the U.S. was held by George H.W. Bush after the Gulf War.
American credit card debt is higher than ever. The Federal Reserve released data showing debt passed the $1 trillion mark in 2017.
An online study also shows that the South carries the most debt burden, meaning below average earnings with high credit balances. 3 of the 5 worst cities are in Texas, then Miami and LA round off the rest of the list.
Seattle takes the #1 spot in the study with the least debt in the country.
Following the Eagles' Super Bowl win on Sunday, several players say they will not accept President Trump's invitation to the White House.
The snub follows comments made earlier in the season by Trump on players who knelt during the national anthem. Eagles safety Malcolm Jenkins, wide receiver Torrey Smith, and defensive end Chris Long have all publicly turned down the possible invitation.
Long did not attend last year when he played for the Patriots during their Super Bowl win last season.
The United States-Japan alliance is the cornerstone of peace, prosperity, and freedom in the Indo-Pacific. And Mr. Prime Minister, as we discussed today, our nations are taking bold steps to strengthen our alliance and deepen our friendship even further.
U.S. Vice President Mike Pence and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe are putting pressure on North Korea.
In a news conference today, they spoke about the importance of sanctions on North Korea to curb its nuclear program. They conducted a nuclear test and 16 missile tests just last year.
The American Vice President is leaving for South Korea tomorrow to meet with President Moon Jae-in and to attend the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics.
And Mike Pence may just run into the North Korean delegation's latest addition, Kim Jong-un's sister.
Kim Yo-jong will be the first member of the Kim family to visit South Korea since the end of the Korean War. She's the vice president of the propaganda department and one of several North Korean officials blacklisted by the U.S. Treasury.
Despite this, analysts say this is a step forward for diplomatic relations for the secretive nation.
Speaking of the Olympics, 6 countries will be making their Winter Olympic debuts this year. Ecuador and Kosovo are both sending 1 athlete to the Games.
Malaysia will send a figure skater as well as an alpine skier, and Nigeria is sending a women's bobsled team. Singapore's short track speed skating will compete, and Eritrea is represented by an alpine skier.
The opening ceremony is this Friday at 6 a.m. and will be rebroadcasted for primetime at 8 p.m.
Government forces from Russia and Syria are killing civilians in a Damascus suburb, according to eyewitness accounts.
Over the past 3 days, over 130 civilians were killed in air raids due to the area's proximity to the Syrian capital. Bombings have increased in the area as it is one of the last opposition targets in the nation.
The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says nearly 400 people have been killed in the area since December.
Coming up on News Live at 6, one ice cream company is jumping on the bandwagon of the latest health fad.
And another farewell tour is coming to Syracuse in September. Stay tuned for more.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where the cats go on vacation? New York.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Syracuse is known for being one of the most snowiest cities in the U.S., and they're getting that right. We had about 10 inches of snow today from Winter Storm Liam, and here are the current temperatures across New York State. Around 20s in most places, but higher 20s as we go towards the south, towards Ithaca and Binghamton. And then you can see the snow still on the radar right now, and that snow is going to be moving on throughout tonight and pretty much done by midnight. But you can see on that front end, you see a lot of rain down by New York City. So this storm had a lot of rain coming with it along with snow, which tomorrow could turn into ice. But we saw about 5 to 10 inches, like I said. And if you move towards the east a little bit more, there were more like 10 to 14 inches of snow. So a lot of snow throughout all of New York. And then by tomorrow morning, we're moving into a winter storm warning, and we might be seeing some lake effect snow. And you can see some of those bands right here. That will be what we're waking up to tomorrow morning early. And as I said, Thursday, about 10 a.m., we're going to start seeing that snow coming in. And about noon, maybe a half inch. As we go towards 7 p.m., we might see about 2 inches of snow. And then on Friday, that winter warning should be done by about 1 p.m., seeing that snow clear out. And then taking your full 5-day forecast here, you can see that snow is pretty much in almost every day of the week. We see a lot of that snow coverage. But it is Syracuse, guys. And Syracuse isn't the only city getting buried in snow this week. A winter storm in... Well, winter storm, okay. Nope, I don't. Winter storm in France dumped snow onto Paris today and brought traffic and tourist attractions to a standstill. The Eiffel Tower is closed down and emergency shelters were set up for the homeless in Paris, with 5.9 inches of snow falling since yesterday. This marks the city's biggest snowfall since 1987.
Thousands of Chipotle employees will be receiving one-time bonuses of anywhere between $250 and $1,000. The company has also announced it will start expanded training programs and parental leave. Chipotle says the employee bonuses come thanks to a new tax plan which cut the corporate tax rate by 14%.
And ice cream fans such as myself can rejoice. Ben & Jerry's is coming out with a new line of low-calorie ice cream. The company calls its new line Moveforia. Flavors include caramel cookie fix and peanut butter dough. The announcement comes as Ben & Jerry's tries to compete with Halo Top, a low-calorie ice cream that swept the nation and beat them in supermarket sales last year. Ozzy Osbourne is retiring from world travel. The 69-year-old rock legend announced his final world tour yesterday. He'll make a stop at the Lakeview Amphitheater in Syracuse on September 1st. Osbourne told Rolling Stone that while he's not fully retiring, he will no longer do long stretches on the road because he wants to spend more time with his family.
And coming up in sports, it was a crazy train on the Syracuse football recruiting trail today. The Orange locking down 3 more recruits on National Signing Day. Plus, Pittsburgh gets a player that Orange fans are going to love to hate. Plus, SU lacrosse news for both the men's and women's teams. And Paul Pasqualoni is heading to the NFL. Stick around.
Hey, Trutism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Get some drinks!
Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be?
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Welcome back. I'm Drew Carter. If you're a fan of a college football team that isn't very good right now, today is basically a holiday. It's National Signing Day, when recruits put pen to paper and pledge their allegiance to a school. This year, a little different from the past, though. Most players inked their letters of intent during the early signing period back in December. But still a few signatures up for grabs today, and Syracuse locked down 3 players. 3 stars apiece for all these guys. Remember, 15 players committed to the Orange all the way back in December. 2 running backs signing today. Akeem Dixon had been verbally committed for almost 9 months. Jarvion Howard, on the other hand, committed just a week ago. Tight end Caleb Okechukwu, no relation to Pascal Chukwu, the SU basketball player, had offers from Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee. But the biggest story of the day for Syracuse is the guy who did not commit to the Orange. Michael Salahuddin is a 4-star running back and the #1 player from the class in Washington, D.C. He narrowed it down to 2 schools coming into today, Syracuse and Pittsburgh. And at the press conference, here's what happened. Cold from Salahuddin there on the pump fake. Let's move over to some more positive SU sports news now. Inside Lacrosse came out with its preseason poll for the ACC today. The Orange checks in at #3 behind Duke and Notre Dame. And in the national rankings, 5 of the top 15 teams come from the Atlantic Coast. At the individual level, Inside Lacrosse had Syracuse defenseman Tyson Bomberry on its all-conference team. And on the women's side, Syracuse is loaded this year. That same magazine, Inside Lacrosse, unveiled its preseason All-American teams today. 5 SU standouts make the cut. Riley Donahue and Morgan Widener made the 3rd team. Alexa Razowitz, Natalie Wallen, and Emily Harris-Chuck were named honorable mention. Last year as a junior, Donahue led the team with 68 points, 42 goals, and 26 assists, and was nominated for the Tewaaraton Award. And we take a look now at those ACC rankings for the women's team. The Donahue leads the Orange into this season, but it's going to be a tough go for Syracuse in that stacked conference. The season begins Friday against UConn in the Dome. Today, the ACC releasing this preseason poll, and Syracuse comes in 2nd, behind only North Carolina, the defending conference champ. The Orange and Tar Heels both received 2 first-place votes. The Q sits right above Boston College, which may surprise you after BC went all the way to the national championship game last year. And back to football now. The SU offensive coordinator is going solo this year. Head man Dino Babers announced today that Mike Lynch is the Orange's new OC. Last year, Lynch shared the duties with Sean Lewis, who took over as the new head coach at Kent State earlier in the offseason. Lynch and Babers worked together at Eastern Illinois and Bowling Green before they came to Syracuse together. And in the NFL, Paul Pasqualoni is becoming the new Detroit Lions defensive coordinator. Yesterday, the Lions announced the move, hiring Pasqualoni as their new DC. He'll work under first-year head coach Matt Patricia. That's a role reversal for these two guys. In the early 2000s, when Pasqualoni was the Syracuse head coach, Patricia was just a grad assistant. Guys, Paul Pasqualoni, that's a throwback all the way to the early 2000s.
Yeah, 2004 was the last time he coached here. But the big news today in sports, Drew, I think the Yankees now have the best quarterback in New York City.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, guys, being traded to the Yankees. Now, it would have been a little bit funnier, Connor, I got to be honest, if you had just said, Russell Wilson has been traded. And you can kind of fool some people into thinking that the Seahawks traded him. No, just his baseball playing days are over in Texas, and now he's starting in New York.
All right, thank you very much,
Drew. We'll see if he brings them to another title this year. Don't worry, we have a little bit more time left in the snow here in Syracuse.
Citrus TV News, we'll be right back.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back. So, Jess, when is this snow gonna stop?
Well, pretty much now, I think into the rest of the night, we're done with like heavy snow, maybe a little bit of flurries left over, but that's gonna change tomorrow afternoon. We might see maybe 1 or 2 more inches, and then we'll be done for a little bit longer. And as you can see in the full forecast, snow is pretty much 3 days out of 5, so a lot of snow coming up in the next week.
Well, starting tomorrow, high-level athletes from around the world will be competing in the Winter Olympics.
And in case you're wondering, we were also some pretty high-level athletes back in the day, if we want to take a look. Wow, Connor.
Man.
Oh, boy.
That's me skiing in Utah when I was 10 years old. That's a little frame that my mom sent it in. She couldn't get it out of the heart frame I got her from.
Honestly, I think it's cuter that way, to be honest.
What are you doing here?
So my first broadcasting gig ever, actually, I was announcing high school games for my local hockey team. A beach ball. We have this weird tradition where we have beach night. There was a beach ball that got onto the ice. I was tasked with bringing it out. It's a weird photo, it's a weirder story, but I had a great time doing it. You know, what I'm really excited for is these next pictures. I really want to see what our producer, Kate, looked like.
Jess, is that you?
That is me. I was about 1 year old and I was sledding. I'm from Florida, so like the snow and me don't get along, but that was my best effort. And then our producer, Kate Wyant, look at her. She's so cute, having fun in the snow.
Absolutely adorable. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. Follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News and on our Facebook page for news updates. From all of us here in studio, I'm Josh Rosenblatt.
And I'm Conor Federico. Stay warm, stay safe, and have a great night, Syracuse.